You're listening to Meet the Wedding Suppliers, a wedding planning podcast that introduces those planning a wedding to the creatives that turn wedding day dreams into wedding day reality. My name is Philip Smith. I'm an award-winning wedding videographer, and over the past 7 years, I've worked alongside some of the very best suppliers in the wedding business. And in this podcast, I'm sitting down with photographers and florists, planners and caterers, venues and videographers, cake makers and toastmasters to discuss their process, the lessons they've learned, and their tips for those planning a wedding. So I'm really excited about this episode of the podcast because it's on a subject I know literally nothing about. Until I started filming weddings, the world of the makeup artist was totally alien to me. And it's only been through filming weddings and being present during the bridal prep that I've been able to appreciate the role of the makeup artist. To me, this role extends beyond just applying makeup on the day. I've seen makeup artists become motivational speakers and best friends, support workers, even temporary florists. They are the first supplier most brides will see on the day and the supplier that is on hand to prepare them, to calm them down, to encourage them and to support them on the morning of the wedding. So to discuss this and a load of other things that I will pretend to understand, it's Zoe from Beauty by Zoe.
Yeah, hello.
Hello, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you for joining us. I kind of really mean that as well. Like the makeup artist is so important on the day, isn't it? You're kind of not just there to apply the makeup.
No, definitely not. I think you're setting the tone for the whole morning, setting the vibe for everyone. So
I totally agree with that because I've been in situations where, from a videographer's point of view, I always tend to turn up around about the time the bride's having their makeup done. Mm-hmm. But the makeup artist has been there from very early on. And when I arrive, it's the most important thing is to work out the tone of the day.
Definitely.
And sometimes it is manic in there, isn't it? And sometimes it's quite chilled.
Yeah, it can be, yeah. So you've really got to just sort of set the tone for everyone else as well. You can sense it in the room. Bridesmaids are flapping around a little bit maybe. So yeah, you have to just keep calm and cool.
I think as well, it's one of those things where I've seen it with brides where they are nervous until they sit down in the chair.
Yeah, they get a minute to sort of relax. You can almost see the body language, the shoulders go down, a sigh of relief. You can tell. It's
more of a case of as well that there's a lot of nervous energy because a lot of the time they're sitting around waiting in anticipation, aren't they?
Yeah.
And the bridesmaids are all getting their stuff done and being seen.
They're almost watching everyone else have little things done, and until it's their go, then they get that moment to relax and sort of compose their thoughts. Yeah. So
do you think it's important as a makeup artist to be able to sort of anticipate how the bride's feeling and to be aware of what they need?
Yeah, you can almost sort of sense how they're feeling through their body language, and then you sort of adapt to suit them. Like if they're nervous, just like a little, even touch of the arm just to calm them down. So look, you can relax, enjoy this. Just like a few little words of wisdom, I think help. So
because it's quite symbolic as well, I always think, with the makeup, because you're not only physically changing them, but quite symbolically as well, aren't you?
You're giving them a confidence boost.
Yeah.
100%, yeah. You can see the change in them. When they could get a glimpse in the mirror, they just change. So
it's an important role.
Absolutely.
I think that's the point we're trying to get to. Obviously, I know absolutely nothing about this. As I said in the intro, it's one of those things where I just didn't know what a makeup artist did. It was not in my world at all until I started to film these weddings. And as I said, I sort of turn up when the bride's getting their makeup done and they sit there. And then the way you and I have worked together a handful of times.
Yeah, we have, yeah.
And I've always been impressed by the way you're always calm.
Yeah, super calm. I feel like you have to be. It's part of the job almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, calm.
Is it tough though when everything is being so manic in the morning sometimes, of trying to calm people down?
I think it can be, but where I've worked like for Mac and stuff before, when you're working in those high stress like environments, you have to be able to deal with it. Like you just have to zone it out almost. So you can't perform if you're getting like a stress otherwise.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, tell us about them. What's your history then? How did you get into doing the
So
beauty
I started doing beauty about 10 years ago, straight out of school. And then that sort of then branched out into like more makeup and the beauty side of things where you see an instant result. And then from there, I started working for Mac. That was for a couple of years. Had enough of the retail side of it. Wasn't ready for me.
And that was working in shops then, was it?
In like shops, department stores, in London, like freestanding stores, Westfield, Stratford, all those high, stressful places. And then I left there and then went fully self-employed, and that's where I am now. So yeah, freelancing.
That's probably really useful, having that experience of working in such a busy environment.
I don't think I'd be able to be as calm as I am now unless I'd have done that. It really was like a learning curve for me. So
it's like, what's the worst that can happen,
Yeah, pretty much.
Been in that situation before.
So true.
So how did you start getting into weddings? Can you remember the first wedding that you did?
The first wedding was, I think it's in 2015 actually, and I think it was the venue was Milsom's.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really nice, really chilled morning.
Yeah.
It was only like 2 bridesmaids, the bride, so it was really nice. And yeah, that was it.
Did you feel the pressure on the first wedding though?
No, not really. No, because I'd already known of the client, so we sort of already had that connection. So it was quite nice. It was really enjoyable. So it was quite chilled.
Oh, that's good, because I remember
lucky, really.
Yeah, like the first wedding that I remember, the first weddings that I shot, you're kind of weighed down by the pressure and the expectation of it.
Yeah, you want to perform at your absolute best, don't you?
Yeah,
yeah.
But I suppose from a makeup artist's point of view, you know what you're doing. Like you've done the plan and the prep and the trial. You've just got to go
have to execute it,
and go and deliver that. And as you say, like you've done that 1,001 times before.
Yeah.
You just got to go and do.
Of course, yeah. And just zone out the outside pressures.
Yeah, and not worry about it. Because half the pressure I often think about makeup artists is you are working to time, aren't you?
Time frames, yeah. There isn't a lot of room for movement, to be honest.
Because you've got to be done by the time before you've got to get into the dress and then have pictures and then the service. So you're kind of working back from that. You've got to allow a certain amount of time for the bride, and then you've got to allow a certain amount of time for bridesmaids or mothers of the bride and that sort of thing. And it all kind of...
It's a bit of a puzzle, really.
It is.
You've got to piece it all together.
Yeah. And you're working backwards, because, I mean, you've got to say X amount of time for the bride and all these people. And that makes you start... Like, sometimes you're starting so early, aren't you?
Yeah, there's some really early starts. 7 o'clock.
So is this when you're doing like 9 bridesmaids?
Yeah, like if there's a large group, then a lot earlier, yeah. You get used to it though, it's just part of it. It's a pretty normal sort of start time, really.
I think it's funny sometimes as well when if myself and the photographer turn up, and we usually turn up around about the time the bride is getting their work done, which is kind of, I suppose, near the end of your run. You've been there for 3 or 4 hours. And then myself, as doing the video, or the photographer, we just stroll in.
Really casual, quite chill.
Exactly. We mess things around. We open windows. We move lights around, all that sort of thing. You must be thinking to yourself, I've been here for 3 hours. No, you guys have come and just messed it all up.
Yeah, pretty much.
I was thinking about the role that you play with the bride and that sort of thing. And I was thinking about how the reveal with the bride can be it must be one of the most exciting moments, but also one of the most nerve-wracking moments.
I never feel that nervous, I feel like I just know it's going to look even better than the trial. So when they look and they've got the hair done and everything comes together perfectly, it's just such a nice feeling. Like, it's so rewarding. You couldn't make it up. You couldn't really describe it to someone. It sounds quite cheesy, to be honest, but no, it's nice. It's a nice feeling.
But that's the confidence you have in your work, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you have to know that you're good. Like, I don't ever doubt it. I think that's why people come to you. They get the chance to sort of look online, research, look at your work, and, you go with who you feel suits your own makeup style or the way you wear your own makeup, I just think that's how it goes.
And talking about how the brides, through that whole process in the lead up to the wedding, the trial was a thing that when my wife and I got married, I found bizarre. Because she would say she was going off to this makeup trial, and I was thinking, obviously having zero experience of makeup, thinking, why would you need a trial? But of course, the trial is probably the most important thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's just another sort of point of you getting to know the bride. Also, like, are they sensitive to products? What are they like wearing eyelashes? There's loads of little bits that you just wouldn't know unless you'd had that trial. I personally wouldn't feel comfortable to do a bride's makeup without a trial. I just wouldn't do it. I think it sort of sets the tone. You know each other, you're more relaxed, you put at ease. Yeah. It's just perfect that way.
And I can imagine being on the wedding, if you haven't had the trial, being on the wedding day.
God, yeah.
Trying to decide which shade of lipstick.
That's it. It's too much choice. You could feel like you're going to be really indecisive. I mean, I'm like that, going makeup shopping, I can't decide, let alone on a big day like that, you know?
Yeah. So what's the process then? So for a bride who wants to book you, for instance, what's the process? They get in touch and then you work out a time for the trial, and then you go through ideas?
They then book in for a trial. We normally do that around 6 weeks before, maybe 4 to 6 weeks. It's about a couple of hours long normally. It can be like longer, can be a little bit less. I try different products, different textures, likes and dislikes, any allergies, all those sorts of stuff. And then from there, then obviously on the day, so we go through everything, and that's that.
During the trial, is it important for brides to come to you with like a lookbook?
Ideas?
Of things that they like?
Absolutely, yeah, like celebrity inspiration and things that they've seen online. A lot of YouTube stuff as well, I get shown, so.
Is that a case of... I mean, it must be sometimes brides will come to you with an idea that they have, and you knowing how to produce looks like that, you know whether that's going to suit them or not.
Because not everything looks the same on you as it does on, you know, someone on Instagram or a celebrity. So it's what aspects of that makeup do you like, and how can we sort of get that to translate onto you, sort of thing, if that makes sense.
Is that difficult though, working with somebody who's got, if a bride comes in with quite high expectations of what they want?
It can be, yeah. But I think it's managing the expectations from the start. We're not all going to look like a Kim Kardashian or whatever, you know. It's sort of just, what do you like about that, and how can we get it to look amazing on you, sort of thing. So,
are there times when somebody's brought something in and you've said to them that look looks great on them, but it will not suit your style or your...
Yeah, definitely. I think so. And you have to be honest with people, because that's what they're coming to a professional for. You know, they value your opinion. You've worked on all different skin types, different, like, everything, you know. So you have to be honest and just tell them what you think is going to work best. It's going to be better for me and for them. Yeah. So... Yeah, honesty is key.
You're the professional, aren't you? You know if this works or not. And then you'd rather not get into the situation when on the wedding day...
It doesn't look right.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've got to start again.
Of course, yeah. Pressure galore.
The pressure and the timing suddenly go out the window, and suddenly you're stressed.
Stress me out the thought of it.
Oh, I can imagine. I was just thinking about the trial, though. That must be quite, from a bride's point of view, that must be quite an exciting time, isn't it? Because you've probably...
Well, it's quite fun as well. It's quite creative. You know, you can throw ideas around, or maybe like put something on, wipe it off and do something else. You know, it's time to sort of experiment as such.
But you get all these people in the most exciting moments of their lives, really, or the time frame of a wedding, don't you?
Yeah, that is true. It's nice. Lucky, really.
They come to you early. They're excited about what they want, how they want to look, and the ideas that they've got, and they can tell you about all these things. And you're the person who goes, "Yep, I can make it happen. I can make that happen."
Yeah, it's really, really lucky to have that sort of job, you know, and that sort of enjoyment from it.
Yeah. So on the week of the wedding, so we've done the trial and we're moving into the week of the wedding. What's the deal? I mean, again, this is something, and I'm going to show my ignorance here. Should brides be tanning? What should they be doing? What's the plan in the lead-up?
Maybe fake tanning on the day that they want. So say if you had a tan on the Monday, the wedding was on the Thursday, they want it to fade in time to be the right tone for the wedding day, little things like that. All the skincare, all of your sort of prep will be down to a fine T by then. You'd have gone through all that for the trial, and you know what you're doing.
Did you talk them through this beforehand?
Yeah, that's it. So during the trial, you'd go through all of that and what you can do and what not to do. Don't change anything, like don't suddenly change your cleanser that week and stuff like that, because you don't want to suddenly have a big outbreak of spots or something. Yeah. So all little tidbits like that you'd go through in the trial.
So you essentially you would keep your routine. As you always have.
Yeah, that's it. You do your final finishing touches, nails, brows, that week, earlier in the week before the wedding.
And then on the morning itself, you're there and you've got the plan
and you do the prep.
You can just deliver it.
Yeah, that's it.
See, this is now, it makes total sense to me. Now I understand how you are so calm and makeup artists are so calm on the day.
It's basically like an itinerary.
Yeah, because you've done half the work beforehand then, haven't you? That's why the trial is so important. You do all the work beforehand and then all you're doing on the day is just delivering that.
Yeah, recommendations on products to use, even months before. So, yeah.
Do brides come to you with... do they deliver some products to you that they want to wear, or do you go and get these products?
Sometimes I'll always ask if they have a preference. Is there anything in particular of their own products that they'd prefer me to use? But most people say no, but it's just as an option, really. What
sort of stuff do you use generally? Is it a mixture of things?
A mixture. I'm not really like a slave to one brand. Right. It just depends what I feel is going to suit the client, their skin. Yeah.
One of the other things I was trying to work out from my with my limited experience of makeup artists. How do you get it to last all day?
Yeah, it's all in the prep, really. Again, right down from the skincare and working your way up. You have to know what to put on. It's going to suit the skin and, the powder, the way you apply it with the brushes. Yeah, everything. It all has to fit together perfectly.
Do you sometimes, as well, brides come to you with an idea and a plan that they've got, and do those ideas kind of link into kind of like a bigger theme of what they've got? Or is it more of a case of they're trying to find an image for them that fits their skin tone,
I think it's more like their style overall, rather than being in keeping with the whole wedding, it's more about them as a person, like their own individual. They don't necessarily want to fit into the stereotypical, a traditional bridal makeup. Like they want it to still show a bit of them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And are there trends that are happening now? I mean, there must be trends that you've seen a million one times and you just think, oh God, I don't never want to see that again.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, some of it can be a bit too heavy, I'd say now, but I think people are coming away from that.
So it's a lot less.
Yeah, not so Kardashian-esque makeup.
Now, is this a throwback to the royal wedding of Harry and Meghan? Mm-hmm. Because I don't know, were you working that day? Do you remember if you were working that weekend? Because
I think I watched the whole thing.
I did the same thing. I had the weekend off, and I remember sitting and watching it, and only because I wanted to watch how they filmed it.
Yeah.
Being total geek. I wanted to figure out how they were filming this thing. But I remember as she walked down the aisle, we were watching it with a group of people saying, she doesn't look like she's got any makeup on. Because she looked like
she looked very natural, didn't she? But I thought she looked so pretty because it still showed her, like her freckles. She looked so just like her.
Yeah.
She wouldn't look right if she'd have come down the aisle with like really heavy makeup.
But did you see from that point onwards, brides were coming to you with sort of suggestions of being like that?
Like they're now saying that they want their freckles visible rather than covering them up, stuff like that. So they're embracing like their natural sort of look a little bit more.
Is that difficult for you though? Or are you adept at providing all these different looks? Is it difficult to move into that frame of being less makeup-esque?
It can be. I think it's good because it sort of challenges you to make that look great. If you're used to doing a heavier sort of look, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Even you were saying about how there are trends in wedding makeup, how brides can want one thing, like you were saying, the heavier look, and then like 6 months later would completely change. Yeah. So what are the trends, the upcoming trends then, do you think? Is it
loads of fluffy brows at the moment?
Is that it?
Yeah, fluffy brows.
What is a fluffy brow?
So like a brushed up brow?
Yeah, you still don't know now. No, I think I know about that. So
like
brows
just to frame the eyes, sort of like a classic, like the skin, the freckles, like we said before, all that sort of look. Yeah.
Do you do brows as well, or is that something? And do you work that on the day of the wedding, or is that something you do beforehand?
Beforehand, normally, sort of get the brows into shape, microblading if their brows don't grow a lot, so you can tweak it a little bit. So yeah.
It's another thing where I didn't realise brows were a thing until very recently.
Brows are definitely a thing.
But this has been only recent.
Massive thing. No, this is not recent.
Has it always been like this?
Sort of getting more of a thing, it's mainstream thing now, but yeah.
But I know guys have their brows done.
Mm-hmm. They do.
I know that's a thing. Is it a case of, have you ever had anybody asking you to do male makeup or groom's makeup or anything like that?
Maybe not so much a makeup, but I felt like male grooming is definitely becoming more of a thing. Like guys come to get their brows done the week of the wedding.
Oh, really?
Even spray tans I've had before. So yeah, it is definitely becoming more normal.
Yeah.
Not for all guys, don't get me wrong, but I think it's becoming more of a concept now.
Oh really? That's interesting.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about it like that. It's quite interesting of guys. Because obviously I've seen, on the wedding day, the chaps always look incredible. Everyone's had a fresh haircut. They all look great. They all did a shave or whatever, or not. And everyone looks great. But I hadn't thought about them coming to see you.
Treatments beforehand.
Yeah, making themselves look incredible.
Yeah, why not? I think they should. I think if it makes you feel good, gives you a confidence boost, then I'm all for it. That's what I say.
Amazing. I was going to ask how many weddings you do a year. Do you remember how many?
It varies. I think 1 year I think I had like 30. And I think this year about 20.
Right,
so
okay.
Yeah,
a decent
like
number.
A nice amount.
Yeah. Because as I said, they're kind of it's a busy period, isn't it? Because you do most of the morning on Saturday or a Friday or even a Sunday now, and you're doing the trial midweek as well.
That's it.
It's a busy job, though.
It is, and it's all the kit preparation. You have to like sanitize your kit when you get home, your brushes. There's a lot of other hours involved. It's not just you're done at like lunchtime. Yeah. There's a lot more to it. Yeah. So
I've seen a few brides who have like they've eschewed the idea of having a makeup artist and have just done it themselves. From a makeup artist's point of view, obviously brides can, whatever they want to do is absolutely up to them.
Of course.
But do you think it's more of a case that having somebody look after them and work on them in the morning, it's more like it's
more of a pamper?
It's the luxury of it, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. And also it takes that little bit of worry and stress out of the morning as well. What if you get really nervous? You might not know you're going to be that nervous until that point comes.
Yeah.
So it just eliminates a little bit of stress for them.
As well as being nervous on the day, it's almost a case of what if you are working on yourself and you don't get the look that you want?
Yeah. What if your eyes are watering, or, your one brow isn't going right, or something like that?
Yeah. So I suppose it's a good idea to have somebody who's going to look after you and take care of everything.
Guide you,
and do all the things we said at the start, which is going to be florist and looking after
all the extras.
All those sorts of things. So we'll look to wrap up in a few minutes, but what we should really want to know is about your tips for brides. So what should they look for when they're talking to makeup artists? What should they be looking for? And also tips on the wedding morning themselves. Like how should they?
Tips on finding a makeup artist. I'd say it's really important to look at like previous work, website, Instagram, all those sort of things like that, because you can get a feel for their style of work. Everyone is so different. If you look online, you can see it quite clearly. And just, I think it's important to just get what sort of vibe you get from someone when you contact them. How are they? Just go from there, and maybe have a few trials with different makeup artists. Don't sort of pigeonhole yourself straight away. Like, just see what you think.
That's a really good point. Actually, I hadn't really thought about that. I often think that if you have a trial with one person, you're tied to them.
No, absolutely not. I think you should definitely try out a few if you can. Yeah, if you've got the luxury of doing that, then yeah.
Have you had that before where people have come for a trial and it just hasn't clicked for whatever reason? Like they didn't like.
I think maybe a couple, but it's never anything personal. I just think you've got to go with the right person for you, and a true professional would never be offended. I'd rather someone go with who they feel comfortable with, sort of thing.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, because there's no point going to the trial and thinking you're tied in with that person. Yeah. And then on the wedding day itself, then
not being happy.
Yeah,
that'd be terrible, wouldn't it?
And it'd be worrying about it and all that sort of thing. You want to eliminate all that stress and those issues and that sort of thing. And what about in the morning? There's the morning of the wedding. What would you say to brides?
Morning of the wedding. So sometimes I say to them, lip scrub, glass of water, all those sort of things.
What's a lip scrub?
So it's like an exfoliator for your lips, so you don't get like dry, flaky lips. Okay. So you prep your lips, you do your skincare, moisturise. Loads of water, make sure you've had an early night as well.
Right, okay.
All those little boring tips that really make the difference. Yeah. That's it.
Good. Where can people see more of your work? What's your social media handles?
So my Instagram is @beautyby and then _Zoe. My website is www.beautybyzoelouise.co.uk.
And do you post often on Instagram?
I do, yeah. Instagram probably the most, yeah.
Do you find a lot of brides are coming to you via Instagram now? Is it a useful tool for you?
Yeah, it definitely is. I get a lot of inquiries, and then that links back to my website. So yeah, I get a lot through there.
And I suppose it's useful as well with photographers who are taking images of you in the morning.
Of course.
And then sending you it's useful for brides to see the way that you work.
And your setup and stuff like that. Yeah, so it's cute.
Good. Well, thank you for joining. Thank you for enlightening me, because I obviously
it's been an eye opener.
Completely naive about most of this stuff. I now know what a lip scrub is, and I might even investigate into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, from my point of view, it's like I turn up and you're already halfway through, and everybody looks fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's easy then from a videographer's point of view.
From your point of view.
Yeah. And also for photographers, they kind of turn up at the same time, and it's all done, and it's nice and easy. And what I like when I've worked with you is the fact that you just get on with it.
Yeah.
You're nice and calm, really relaxed on the day. And that's kind of what brides really need, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
They need a comforted arm around them while you are working with them, don't they?
Absolutely, yeah.
Sorry, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to Meet the Wedding Suppliers. For more episodes, free resources, tips, and show notes, head over to our website at meettheweddingsuppliers.co.uk. My name is Philip Smith, and you can view some of my wedding films over at philipsmithvisuals.co.uk. And if you've loved the Meet the Wedding Suppliers podcast, we'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and give an honest review over on iTunes or your podcast provider. Until next time, thanks very much for listening.